Hi guys, it's Sasha and welcome to my YouTube channel, Sasha Gibbs, She's Type Wonderful, a channel aimed at increasing awareness about type 1 diabetes. To do this, I tell you what type 1 diabetes is, I tell you what type 1 diabetes isn't, I show you some of the things I do on a day-to-day basis to manage life with such a chronic illness. I also show you some of the things not directly related to diabetes because living with disease is about maintaining balance. So I do a little bit of everything. So if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Thank you for choosing this channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. So November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and this ties perfectly with the goal of my channel. Now, before the discovery of insulin in 1921, people with type 1 diabetes did not live for very long. Insulin is the greatest medical discovery of the 20th century, and to date, in the 21st century, it is the only effective treatment for people with type 1 diabetes. So, if for some reason it is true now as it is then, if for some reason I could not get access to insulin, I could not afford my insulin, the result, as grim as it sounds, would be death. So I decided that it was appropriate to do a video about the history of insulin. So that is what I have for you today. So without further ado, let's get into it.
This time, this is my fight song. Take back my life song.
So like I said, before insulin was discovered in 1921, people with type 1 diabetes did not live for very long. There was not much that a doctor could do for them. They had somewhat of a modified starvation diet. People were on strict diets, sometimes as little as 450 calories per day. So people with type 1 diabetes, oftentimes they would die of starvation. And I can tell you off of my own experience that not eating, you would think, if you think about it, it's the relationship with food. You would think that because you don't eat, that would mean that you would have normalized blood sugars. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I have found that on my days where I have not structured my day properly, eating and so on, those are the days when I have ridiculously high blood sugar levels. I have clocked at least 250 when I've not eaten anything. I can clock a blood sugar of 250. So back then, people did not live for, before insulin was discovered, people did not live for very long. So let's backtrack. We're going all the way back to 1889. So in 1889, these two German researchers, Oskar Minkowski and Joseph von Mering, and I'll try to put their pictures up somewhere, they found out that if you remove the pancreas from dogs, they developed diabetic symptoms and they died soon after. So they honed in on the fact that it must be in the pancreas. That was where insulin was being produced. So in 1910, Sir Edward Albert Sharpey-Shafer, he discovered that only one chemical was missing from the pancreas of people who had diabetes, and he called this insulin. So fast forward to 1921, we have Frederick Banting, we have Charles Best, and I'll put their pictures up somewhere. They found a way to extract insulin from the pancreas of dogs, and with the substance that they extracted, they were able to keep a dog who had diabetes alive for 70 days, and that dog only died when when they no longer had any more of the extract that they were able to isolate. So they had a couple more people join up. They had Collip, they had MacLeod, and it was actually Collip who refined the insulin. So in January 11, 1922, Leonard Thompson, a 14-year-old boy, he was dying in the Toronto General Hospital from diabetes. and he received the first injection of insulin. The substance was so impure that he suffered a severe allergic reaction. Now Khalid, he worked to refine the substance, and he got the insulin this time from the pancreas of cattle. And on January 23, Leonard Thompson was delivered that injection, and it worked. His dangerously high glucose levels started to stabilize. If you read up on the history of this event, it tells you of how Banting, Best, Khalid, they were on the ward because so many children were dying from diabetes, and they went from person to person to person administering the injection. And these children, they woke up from being comatose over so many days. Their families were there waiting for them to die, and it was a joyous occasion. This news, it spread around the world like wildfire. In 1923, Frederick Banting and John MacLeod, they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their discovery, and of course they shared the prize money with Khalid and MacLeod. And these men are to be credited because they discovered insulin, and they sold the patent for $1. Yes, $1. The patent was sold for $1, and I am sure if they were alive today, I am sure that they would be mortified at the cost of insulin today. Soon after this, the medical firm Eli Lilly, they started large-scale production of insulin. Other manufacturers developed slower acting forms of insulin, and in 1936, Novo Nordisk Pharmaceuticals, they also started doing this. Insulin from cattle and pigs, this was used for many years to treat people with diabetes, but it was not perfect. People had so many allergic reactions. It wasn't until 1978 that they were able to develop the first genetically engineered synthetic human insulin using E. coli bacteria. Then in 1982, Eli Lilly, they were the first to make commercially available biosynthetic human insulin, and this they called Humulin. So today, fast forward to today, the 21st century, insulin comes in so many different forms. We have the regular human insulin, identical to what the human body produces. We have the long-acting insulin such as Tresiba. We have fast-acting insulin such as Fiasp, and we have so many different options today. We can use the regular syringe if we want to. We can use the insulin pen if we want to. And we can use now the insulin pump, which some of you know I wear an insulin pump, which in its auto state mimics the action of the pancreas. So the management of type 1 diabetes has come such a long way, and I believe that the scientists, the researchers, they have not given up. They are assiduously working on this, and I hope that I will live to see a cure in my lifetime. But even if I don't, I am thankful that I have insulin readily available to me. I only wish, and I'm still praying and hoping that it will become affordable for all, because as I stated before, the patent was sold for $1. Uno, ichi, un, one was sold for $1. So that is my wish, that insulin will become affordable for all. And because as type 1 diabetics, it is true then as it is true today. If it is not available, if it's not accessible, people who have type 1 diabetes, they would die. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from the video. Please leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you knew some of this before, or if you have additional information that you can add to what I just presented. Please let me know that as well. if you haven't already done so, and if you found the content of my channel to be beneficial to you, I ask that you not leave before subscribing. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so that as soon as I upload a video, you will be the first to know. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for the next one.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Stand